This is Shaun with Foundation Solutions Group, and thank you for joining us at Solutions University today. So if your sump pump looks like this, here's some tips to help maintain your sump pump. One of the first things that we like to do is a sump pump stand. So what this simply does is sits on top of here inside of your sump pump liner. So if you'll notice, these are elevated a little bit off the bottom, and that's because we have a sump pump stand. So that keeps us from pulling up grit and dirt and debris into our sump pump and gives you a longer life on your sump pump. So love that. Something else that we're going to want to do is you have to have a lid. Lids are very important. They have components such as gaskets that wrap around these pipes that are coming out of the sump pump to keep radon gases and whatnot, odors and whatnot from coming into your house. Even our cord, we put a grommet on it. So we want to make sure that we don't have radon gases seeping into your home to protect your family. So another option is some people have water leaks with the water heater and whatnot in their basement, and so what they're doing is they leave the lid off so the water will run into the sump pump. So we've got a little invention here that was made, and it's this guy right here. And what this does, it has a little ball in it, and so when the water comes in the lid, so this actually attaches to the lid, but I've got it out for viewership. It lifts that ball up and lets the water in. So if you're on vacation and you have a water leak, this lets the water down, but it keeps the gases from coming up. So that way you can keep the lid on your sump pump, you're still protected, and you don't have odors, radon gas, and whatnot going in there. So check valve. Very, very, very important. We like to have a check valve at the bottom. If you buy a sump pump and we do annual maintenance on your system, we're always going to replace this sump pump, this check valve. So there's a little flapper in there. It's like a gasket. You don't want it hard. You want it to work. If this doesn't work, what's going to happen is this sump pump pumps the water up the pipe, and then as soon as it shuts off, it lets the water right back down. And so what happens is you're going to cycle this pump over and over and over. It's going to burn your motor out. Unnecessary wear and tear on your motor. It's making it work extremely hard, and it's going to get hot and overworked. And so that's going to decrease the life of your pump, and we don't want to have an accident, especially if you're in a basement, especially if you're in a finished basement. But this check valve, if you have a reputable company with a maintenance department, they're going to come in and they're going to service the check valve, make sure everything's right, make sure that your floater is not touching the side of the sump pump. A lot of times we'll come in and people are moving stuff in the basement and they hit one of these poles and they'll move this sump pump. When they do, this floater in here won't lift anymore. So you always want to keep an eye on your pumps. You can usually pull this grommet out and shine a flashlight down in here and kind of see what's going on. So when you put the lid on, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. So one of the things that we do is we have a two-part lid. So what this does is come in here, instead of taking the whole lid off, we can lift this thing up and service this pump. So it raises up, we can take this part off, and most of this pump can be serviced from this side of the unit. What you're seeing here is a little bit of a complex, it's called this is a Twin-Sump Pump System. So we have two floats, we have two discharges. We've learned over the years that it's very, very, very important to not pipe these two together. So you want maximum flow, and you want the pumps independent. That way if you have a pump failure or a power failure, then one of these pumps will continue to work. This is a half horsepower, and this is a 1/3 horsepower, and this is a half horsepower in the back. So a little bit difference. When the water gets to lower in the bucket, about here, it'll trip this floater. When it gets it here, it'll trip this floater. So 2 or 3 times a year, we just have a wash in this area, in this region, and sometimes you're going to need double pumps. We also offer a battery backup, which will run also, so you'll have 3 pumps. So it's a 3-pump system. If you have a battery backup, you're going to want to have annual service to test the battery to make sure that it's going to be able to perform and not just work, but work for a while and so finish the job, because you don't want your thing getting wet. In here, we like to put an owner's manual on each one of our jobs. There's some information in here, but it's also got our phone number because we don't expect you to do the dirty work. Give us a call, we'll come out and we'll make sure everything is operating. So thanks for joining us today, and remember to call Foundation Solutions Group for all your foundation repair needs.